Beautiful good evening to everybody. It's 6:15 and it's been raining all day, and I've had a lovely visitor. And this is my last visitor. Jamie had organised a visit months and months ago. So it was a shame because we couldn't get out into the gardens. It really was that wet, you know. Managed to get down as far as the ferry wood, but that's only about maybe about a quarter of the way down the gardens. But nevertheless, I've had a lovely day. I've got lots to do because I haven't even unpacked my bag from getting home last night. But it's just lovely to be home. Lovely to be home. So I posted off quite a heap of stuff that was all kind of backing up through the system. I posted that off this afternoon because, of course, yesterday was a bank holiday here in Ireland, so there wasn't any posting. And had a very interesting and very long talk with my visitor. And that was nice, because it's not often I get the chance just to sit down and have a good old chat. And because it was raining, we sat indoors for most of the time and just talked. So, I've got both stoves lit. I've got the stove in the kitchen lit, simply to heat the water and heat the radiators. The stove in here is for pure comfort, just purely for comfort. And I've got a cup of tea here on the go, and I've also got my little insulated cup that's got juice in it. It's doing a little bit of juicing at the moment. And a few things I just wanted to say. One is very much to do with the environment as people see it. And it's not so much the environment, that we consider to be, it's sort of out there, but the whole environment in which we live. Because the more that I've been reading over recent weeks, the more I realise that there is a lot of toxicity in the environment. And again, we think, toxins, they're out there. But in actual fact, the problem with toxins begins in our homes. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because when I was up in Belfast over the weekend, I went to a really nice little health food store, and it's been on my mind for some time to try to get rid of plastics, especially from the bathroom, because I think the bathroom and the kitchen is where a lot of plastics start to accumulate. And let me just move around a little bit. Let you see out the window all the rain. And I came across a shampoo bar, and it sparked a whole series of memories in me, which I was talking with my youngest daughter about. And I'll tell you just a little bit about it. Because you see, a lot of younger people who would be watching Bealtaine Cottage, the videos and reading the blog, you would assume, or maybe you wouldn't, but I'm just kind of generalising, perhaps you would assume that the things that we have now are what we've always had. And I mean, obviously, there's certain things that we've invented, like mobile phones and stuff like that, but when it comes to bottles of shampoo, bottles of hair conditioner, because these are all plastic bottles. When I was a girl growing up, we didn't have Plastic bottles of shampoo. Plastic has only been in use since about the 1950s. And what you'd do is you'd wash your hair with soap. And always in the past you washed your hair with soap. Now, for those of you who don't know what the little routine would be, you'd think, oh, if I wash my hair with soap, it's going to be very dull, there's going to be no shine, it's not going to be soft, so on and so forth. But this is what people used to do, and this is what I used to do. When you washed your hair with soap, you'd wash it to clean it. So soap would clean it, but there'd be a residue left. So what you do, you get a jug that would hold maybe a pint of water, pint of warm water, and into that you would put a tablespoon of vinegar, any kind of vinegar. And you would pour that over your hair for the final rinse. And what the vinegar does, because it's quite scientific really, it perfectly restores the pH balance, not just in your hair but on your scalp. And it leaves your hair squeaky clean. And it helps to flatten down the cuticles on your hair, which leaves your hair extraordinarily shiny. And thus there was no need for conditioner. So in terms of taking the plastic out of the bathroom, I have managed to buy myself in this little health food shop what's called a shampoo bar. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit better than just using common or garden soap. And so I'm hoping now to take much of the plastic, well, there's very little in there anyway, but much of what is in there in the bathroom out. Because we invented something that we didn't know how to dispose of, which is a bit silly of us. In fact, it's very silly. Because if you invent something that you don't know how to dispose of, you've created a bit of a monster. And I think that's what's happened now in the world. And it's not just the Western world, it's the whole world. Because there's problems with plastic everywhere. And, you'll get the majority of people who say, well, one person doesn't make a difference. One person not buying plastic isn't going to make a difference. Don't you believe it? One person makes a huge difference. Your actions will reverberate around Mother Earth. And you bet you're wondering what that smoke is. It's a little joss stick. So, there we go. And I'm just catching up now with things on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, because of course I try to keep in contact on a daily basis through Twitter and Facebook. Just the page, the Facebook page. Now, I was very clever. I left my book, the P.D. James book, behind me when I went to Belfast, because I thought, when I come back, there's nothing going to beat snuggling up in bed with the book. And I've got about a third of it left to read. I'm really kind of dragging it out because I'm enjoying it so much. I don't want it to end. So, J-A-C-K, trying to whisper, is out there in the porch, look. He's just snuggled up in the corner. And I don't know if you heard that noise, but that is the crows up on the chimney. Not this chimney, of course, because it's very hot. So that's the chimney on the right-hand side of the cottage, you know, when you're looking at the front of the cottage. But this wall here, oh, it's just coming into focus, there we go. This wall here, that I'm pointing the camera at, is actually a chimney breast wall. And that would have served a little fireplace in the bedroom and a little fireplace in this room as well. But of course, doesn't operate anymore. So, that's where they have their nest. And this morning, I just said earlier on in the earlier video, I heard quite a lot of noise in that chimney breast, so I'm thinking to myself, the babies are there, definitely. There's a lot of toing and froing by both parents. So they must be both now, you know, the mother must be off the nest, the babies are obviously hatched, and they're feeding them. So, I expect I'm going to be woken up quite early over the next few weeks. So on that note, I'm going to say blessings to you all. And I'm just so happy to be back home again. Never fails to raise my spirits when I turn the car into that driveway and drive up. I think it's why I call Bealtaine Cottage sanctuary, because it is sanctuary. Blessings to you all. Have a lovely evening.